Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's Markets to Watch from Smack the Markets for week commencing the 22nd of October. Now, this week has started off with a fairly light news day, but things do get a little bit more exciting later on in the week. We've got the Canadian interest rate decision, plus we've got the European Euro interest rate decision as well. And that's on top of the sort of focus on UK politics and those Brexit negotiations as well. So there's certainly plenty of news behind the scenes for the markets to sort of get their teeth into. So let's take a look at some of the markets here that we're interested in the trading room this week. So the first one here is oil. If we take a look at oil, from the weekly perspective, the market has declined over the past couple of weeks, and it's actually sort of pulled back into a potential sort of turning point here. And I'm starting to look for evidence here that we're starting to get some more bullish action coming back into the market. So if we have a look at the weekly chart, for example, we can see that even though this market's been sort of like quite volatile, we've seen that every time the market comes back into this sort of zone into the moving averages here on the weekly, it's an area where we can start to see that new momentum comes back in, and the sort of the buyers start to come back into this market. So at the moment, we're right back into that price point at this moment in time. Now, if we start to see some evidence of a turnaround here, then for this weekly trend to continue, well, the market's got to punch above 75.50, and that's really quite a distance from where price is at the moment. Now, on the lower time frames, this market's going to be in downtrends because it has been declining over the past couple of weeks. So we need to start to look for areas of evidence where the market might start to see some strength. And if we start to come down to the 4-hour time frame, for example, we can see that the market's, after the sort of recent decline, we've had the pullback now, and we've not been able to sort of sell off from this sort of area. This is just shy of the $70 level, which is a very key point on this on oil. So the fact that the market hasn't sort of sold off here, and in fact it's continued to be putting in some bullish price action here, and we're also seeing a bit of convergence here, some stronger momentum to the long side. So what I'm looking for is evidence here that the market can break above 70, and if it breaks above 70, then it's going to make a higher high or a higher low here, in which case we can start to see evidence of a turnaround in the trend. Once we see that, then I'll start to look for lower time frame trading opportunities to be able to get sort of positioned, to be able to sort of take some of these moves in between some of these sort of windows of opportunity that we have here on the 4-hour time frame. If we come and have a look at our favorite currency market now. Now, favorite currency market this week is dollar yen. One of the reasons here is that the yen has been particularly weak now for some time. And today, well, the dollar is not particularly strong today, but the yen is weaker. Now, I'm looking at this here from not just a daily perspective, but also from the whole week's perspective. If we come and have a look at the weekly, we can see that here on the weekly, again, we've got a good trend structure here on the weekly. Every time the market comes back into the moving average zone, it's an area where the market finds new momentum and the next leg of the trend continues. At the moment, last week, we had that nice, relatively, well, smallish or to average size bullish candle there in the moving average zone. And at the moment, so far today, we're just breaking above the high of that. So that's starting to look rather nice. I'm looking for price to sort of move on. Well, if this weekly trend continues, the market's got to punch above 114.50, and that's quite a move from where it is at the moment. So if we come down the time frames and start to look at the lower time frames like the daily and the 4-hour, you can see that now we're starting to see a turnaround in trend structure. So on these intraday time frames and these mid time frames, we've now got long trends forming. We've also got some decent sort of windows here within price. So again, if we come to the 4-hour time frame, we've got a fairly sort of decent window up to 113. Above 113, we've got a good window of opportunity up here to 113.5, and then above 113.5 up here towards 114.50. So once the market reaches these sort of decision points, I'll reassess whether the market's still strong, whether we're still looking for continuation to the next step. But at this moment in time, this market's looking strong, and I'm looking for long opportunities here on dollar yen. Now, let's go and have a look at the US indices. Now, my favorite index market out of the three is the Dow Jones. So this is the Dow Jones Future. If we have a look at this on the weekly chart, the market is right up against a very key level at the moment. This is 25,500. This is a very key level that's been there for quite some time, for going back for the beginning of the year for this market. The market's been above that level. It's now pulled back into the moving average here, so back into this sort of sweet spot, and it's also back into that level, and it's just sitting underneath that level at the moment. So what I'm looking for here is to see whether this long trend, this weekly long trend here, is going to continue, because this is really the last chance saloon for it. So if it breaks down and makes a new low below the current low here, then there's no more long trend on the weekly, and then we could start to see moves perhaps back down here towards that sort of 23,000 area. However, if we start to come down the time frames, we can see that there's some strength coming into this market, particularly when we come to the 4-hour time frame. We've got our 2550 area, 25,500 area where price is at the moment. You can see there's a couple of levels there of structure. Underneath that, we've got 25,000 and 25,200. You can almost see every time the market's come down to these lower levels, certainly 25,000, it's almost been like it's been treading on hot coals. It's not been able to hang around there for too long, and the buyers have come in and pushed price higher. So for me, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for the market to sort of find support around this area and get a move back up here towards the 25,800, which was last week's high. Above that, we've got sort of 26,000 and 26,350 and 26,400. So there's some very decent windows here of opportunity above price action. And I'm looking for, if the market can hold around here, if we can pick the bid up, then looking for intraday long opportunities. Now, if the market here breaks below 25,000 again and closes below 25,000 again, I'll be reassessing my analysis, and I'll be looking for more opportunities to see whether this market is rolling over and whether we're going to get a short move back down towards that sort of 23,000 level that we just saw on the weekly chart. So there's a few markets there that we're keeping an eye on in the trading room. I certainly hope it helps. I look forward to speaking to you next time. Bye for now.